Here's your host, Alex Garrett.
And welcome inside to the Alex Garrett Podcast Network. And with me today is a longtime friend, almost 20 plus years now, Ramon Dominguez, a acclaimed jockey, Derby winning and all that fun stuff, jockey. And, I didn't realize, Ramon, first of all, thanks for joining my podcast.
Glad to be actually living now in Saratoga and super great to connect with you. As you say, guys, time flies. I mean, I remember you coming quite often to Belmont Park with your dad 20 years ago or even longer than that. But yeah, it seems like it was yesterday in some ways.
Well, you are an accomplished jockey, and that's why I have you on. And I miss talking with you. You've always been friendly to us, so thank you for that. And you also competed in a few Belmonts over the years as well, if I'm not mistaken. But now you're on the other side. You're analyzing. You're doing all that fun stuff. You're at Saratoga. Give us that experience, firstly, of being at Saratoga, the Belmont week. I mean, the whole week had to be exciting. It was something we'd never seen before in racing, right?
So true. And with that came a lot of anticipation, but a lot of uncertainty too, because although it was the same place where the meet takes place and there was the same people organizing everything, at the same time, it was the uniqueness of first time ever having the Belmont Stakes being run in Saratoga. And I tell you, I feel like, and actually the feedback that I received from neighbors and just citizens of Saratoga, that everything went incredibly well. They did an amazing job, Naira, organizing the weekend of racing. The weather cooperated for the big day because at first they were anticipating or they were forecasting a lot of rain, but that was not the case the day of the race. So it was a beautiful weather. Everybody made it around safe. And it was always in Saratoga, the 7 weeks that we have racing here for the regular meet. It is pretty crowded. A lot of people come to the races and it's really beautiful. This time it was that in steroids. I mean, it was like so many people. It was crazy, the amount of people. But even Alex, leading to the Belmont Stakes, there were some festivities, like they had a Blues Traveler, a famous music group playing here in town. But everybody was everybody was into racing and kind of waiting for the weekend. Yeah.
Well, Ramon, I'm looking here. You're not only you won a few breeders, but you're an Eclipse Award-winning champion jockey and Hall of Fame member. So I'm talking to a Hall of Fame jockey right now. Watching that experience, did it make you miss racing a little bit, watching that whole week unfold?
It did know. It did know. I feel like I'm so blessed to still be connected to racing, even if it is as a fan. And obviously, I'm involved in other capacities here and there within the sport, and that makes me feel like I'm still part of it and still can go to the jockey room and see my peers or see to the trainers and the grooms and so on. So I feel like I'm not on top of a horse, but I'm still very much still involved. So I initially, when I first was forced to retire, it was difficult really to come to the races and watch the races because I did want to be there riding, but that's not the case anymore. I was able to turn the page. So that weekend of the Belmont, it was amazing and enjoy not only the big race, but also many of the undercards that were just incredible too.
I'll obviously be tagging Naira in this, so I have to ask you, of all three tracks and all the different races you ran, what was one of your favorite races to run over the years?
Yeah, and certainly Saratoga is such a special place because it is the cream of the cream when it comes to racing, the best horses, the best trainers, the jockeys, but also it is so competitive, any race that is difficult to win. So I would say in Saratoga, the heating in the drivers was an amazing day for me. But also winning the woodwork with Howard the Grace against the boys was also pretty unique and pretty special. So those are two of the races, but I can go back to maybe the best or the first good horse that I rode, which was Five Better Dog. I came for the day and I rode him in the Saranac Stakes and he won. And actually, he still holds a record in that race for the fastest man at 316 on the turf. So that was pretty cool to win early on my career. I stake race here in Saratoga.
you ended with 4,985 wins. That's quite an achievement. Congratulations on that. In Venezuela, did you do much racing down there where you were born, or did it all start really up here?
No, that's certainly when I started riding in Venezuela, and I rode for a few months in what we refer to as a bush track, like a unrecognized racetrack, where I had my first rides as an apprentice. I never won a race in that racetrack called El Hipódromo de Paraguaná. And then from there moved to the main recognized racetracks, which I rode in two of them, La Rinconada in Valencia. And combining between those two, I won 53 races in Venezuela. And then I came to the United States in 1996, still as an apprentice. And I rode for a few months before I became a professional jockey while I was still riding in Florida.
Give us a little insight into how trainers pick you guys to run their race for them. Like, how do you connect with them, and what's the networking like behind the scenes?
Sure. So for those who are listening and don't know much about horse racing, I mean, one of the common questions that people ask is, "Oh, did you own your own horse?" And no, we are hired to ride. We're independent contractor. We have an agent, and that is the key component here, where he has great relationships and yes, he knows the trainers. And so the trainer sometimes call the agent, or the agent will reach out to the trainer and say, "Hey, I would like for my jockey to ride this horse in this race." They already have a schedule of the races ahead of time. And so when there is this friendship and common uh, factors in terms of that the trainer and the jockey are on the same page as to how they like their horses to be riding, it is an easier process. But obviously, in the beginning, that's not the case. When you are proving yourself and you're going out there and riding horses that don't have much of a chance, and just kind of proving that you have the skills to do the job. And then after riding long shots and horses with no chance and maybe improving or maybe getting lucky and winning a race, you kind of gain the trust of the trainers. And then getting better mounts becomes something a little more common for you or more frequent. And then you start winning. And the name here, or the key, is to win races. When you start winning races, whether you look pretty on a horse or whether your style or your approach is the correct one or not, if you win, that's all it matters. So people will be reaching out to you. But as you can imagine, when a jockey is fortunate enough to have a lot of business, sometimes you will have 5, 6 trainers wanting you to ride their horse in the same race. Obviously, you can ride only one. And that's when your agent has this tough and important job to choose the best horse. Some jockeys are more involved in the decision making as to what horse they like and what not. I would trust in my agent, Steve Rochin, who is incredible. He's the best, and he really didn't make many mistakes when it came to choosing the horses. So that's typically how it happens. But in the peak of my career, I rode as many as over 1,600 races in 1 year. So it is nonstop. Every day you have a lot of mounts.
I saw you were on Havre de Grace, and of course, that's the name of royalty in NYRA and racing world. Tell us about riding Havre de Grace and what that experience was like.
Yeah, she was incredible. She's an overachiever. I mean, a filly that started doing well and then continued to excel, and very easy to ride and extremely well trained. I rode her for for Larry Jones was the trainer, and he had her super ready. I remember him telling me, "Listen, when you come to the 3A pole, don't hesitate to let her run." And that's typically too early in the race for you to be letting your horse all out. But he was so certain that this filly has incredible stamina under her because his training was superb. He really got a lot of conditioning under them that it gave me a sense of trust when I got even as early as, again, the 3/8 of a mile to let her go, because she just continued going. She was an amazing feeling. Again, winning against the boys in a great one. The woodwork here was great, and she showed that she was as good as the boys. And in fact, she ended up being a horse of the year.
And you were her jockey. How about that? Now, obviously, we've seen some legendary trainer and jockey pairings over the years, the Vasquez, Pletcher pairing and whatnot. Now I know you work with Top Pletcher as well, but who was the trainer that you felt you were most paired with almost every time out?
Yeah, I was so blessed and fortunate. I would say we, because my agent and I agree that we, due to his hard work as well and his amazing uh, friendship with the trainers, and he was able to really have these months with these trainers where that enabled me to ride for everybody. I rode for everybody. I mean, there are jockeys who are very fortunate to ride for a top trainer and get the support of those trainers, and that's priceless when it comes to really riding the big races and having day-to-day business on horses that you know that have a top chance to win. On my side, I was able to ride from the very little races or races where the horses were small to the big ones, horses with a very top chance. So I started riding in my big chance I really received from Grand Motion when I was still riding in Delaware Park. He was certainly doing already very well, and it took him a while to really probably get the acceptance of his owners, so for him to be like, listen, I want to ride Ramon. And then he started riding me on a lot of his good horses, and that was certainly something that put me in the map, so to speak. And then slowly we started coming to New York in the winter, where the competition was a little bit easier, and eventually transitioning to full time in New York. But by then, we have the support of everybody. And later on in my career, a key person for my accomplishments and my success was Rick Dotro. He had good horses, whether claiming horses or stake horses, and he liked me enough and trusted me enough where he didn't hesitate to put me on anything and everything. So again, that led me to yet another level in terms of accolades and acceptance, and being able to connect with a lot of good trainers in these big races.
Rick Dutro, by the way, is a great friend, and when his suspension happened, that was kind of devastating because he was such a nice guy, and I'm sure you kept up with him throughout all that. But it's glad to see him back on the racing circuit, I believe, right?
Awesome to see him back. That was a crazy suspension that certainly I cannot justify at all. That's another conversation. But yes, super glad to see him back and to do him very well.
Now, what I really want to talk to you about, because you're in Saratoga this whole summer, is are they going to replicate all the summer meets like every 4th of July weekend they have the Stars and Stripes races and all that? Are they doing all that in Saratoga this month?
They, I mean, the amount of activities, and I mean, I actually have a good friend who is the COO of an organization great for therapeutic courses of Saratoga, Kim Weir. She sent us an email with a lot of the activities that are taking place during the racing meet here in Saratoga, that whether it has directly to do with racing or indirectly. I had actually the list in front of me. On Thursday, there is a foot race, a 4 miler called the Firecracker. That's again leading to the opening day of the meet. And on the 13th, there is the New York City Ballet, which is a big thing here in Saratoga too. It's horse racing and ballet. Then there is the opening day, which is July 11th. Very much looking forward, and I can't believe that it's already around the corner. They have the Silks and Satin, another foot race, a 5K on the 13th, that same day, that starts in Fasig Tipton, where they have the sales for the horses. They have an, an event called Boots and Bling Gala, and it is at a local farm where they have a beautiful farm where war war for war dancer. My wife is listening to
Like
war dancer
Warfield.
is at the stallion in that farm. Yes, yes. So this event, Alex Blue Boots and Bling Gala, is taking place at this farm, and it is to benefit one of the aftercare organization called Rerun. And I love this organization because they take horses thoroughbred that are retired, and when they're fit to do something else outside racing. What else we have? We have actually an event where there is a gumbo that Kendrick Caramush, the jockey, will be cooking. and that is, I have it here, so many events. Um,
Well, you know,
I'll
Ramon,
come back. Oh, here it is.
oh, yeah.
I'm sorry.
I was gonna say, what? Go for it. Then I'll ask
Yeah,
you
yeah,
next.
July 25th is an amazing day with Kendrick making this gumbo, which is incredible. And and besides that, I mean, many other events, but one that I want to mention is July 28th, which is the karaoke. The jockeys will sing karaoke, and it is a lot of fun. Um, Most of us stink when it comes to singing, but it's to benefit the permanently disabled jockeys fund, and it's really an event that we all look forward to. In addition to that, there is the brunch for the racetrack chaplaincy, which is August 14th. And that's again, we actually honoring this year Lane Green, an amazing supporter of the backstretch community. This is a great time. And another event that I want to mention, which is the through the chaplaincy as well. It is a basketball game uh, between the jockeys and the trainers typically. Sharon, do you remember when it's the basketball game? August 1st. I have it on my calendar, but anyways, that is a great time. And the Jockeys do very well. And last year was the first time that they lost. So this year they're
Wow.
going, they're
You know,
coming back with
Ramon,
a.
you
Uh-huh.
talking about basketball? I know you guys used to do the big softball events every summer in Saratoga. Does that still happen?
It's not happening, Alex, and I'm not sure why. Yes, and it was the Jockeys playing against the State Troopers, and that was a great time. I'm gonna try to find out why that hasn't taken place in the last, I don't know, I want to say 4 or 5 years. But it was a lot of fun to watch the Jockeys play the State Troopers.
All right, a couple of more questions for you, Ramon. First of all, you and I were cheering on Dwayne Lucas. Did you ever get to ride for him at all, or?
Yes, not often because it was whether when he came to Saratoga, or perhaps ship a horse um to Long Island, Delaware. I mean to Aqueduct or Saratoga, because typically he will reside or he has his horses in Kentucky. But I did ride for him a few times, and certainly what he has accomplished and still continue to accomplish is amazing. How about him winning the Preakness? I mean, is amazing what he's doing.
You know, you mentioned different events going on. People don't realize jockeys are very much in the community, right? So talk about that for a second. The community outreach you guys do, whether it's Saratoga, Belmont, or Aqueduct.
Yes, and it's a great question, Alex, and one that people sometimes, especially during the meeting Saratoga, don't realize how demanding it is for the jockey, not only physically riding that many horses, and also mentally, because it is so competitive here that you just want to win a race, because a win in sometimes make the difference between position in the standings. But in addition to that, the jockeys are extremely good with their time, trying to attend any event that they can to when it comes to supporting the sport, whether it is aftercare, the permanently disabled jockeys, so many other organizations that are here to support the industry. But the reality is sometimes we do not want to go out after the races because we're tired. We need to get up early to breeze horses in the morning. Despite that, we do the effort and we have a great time, and we know that we are helping supporting the sport. But it is very demanding because pretty much every night there is an event to attend, and that the jockeys, the invitation is extended to them.
So when you got the call to the Hall of Fame, what was that like? That moment?
Oh gosh. So first, I received a call by a friend telling me that they changed the rules to accommodate for me because under the regulations or the rules at the moment, I didn't have enough time after being retired to qualify to being nominated to the Hall of Fame. But they made some amendments so that, given the fact that I was forced to retire, it wasn't under my own terms, given my accident, that I could be eligible to be nominated to the Hall of Fame. And that was something exciting. And I was like, wow, that's so cool that they are doing this. And then they called me and they told me that I was nominated. I felt like I was already um, accomplishing something huge. But quite honestly, I mean, among my peers that were also nominated that year was Victor Espinosa, who won the Kentucky Derby 3 times and won the Triple Crown among many other races. And I said, well, he will certainly be exalted into the Hall of Fame or inducted before me. Then I received a call by Brian Bouget, the director of racing, the Hall of Fame. And he called me, Ramon, I'm calling you to congratulate you for being inducted into the Hall of Fame. And I just started crying like crazy. And my wife, who was nearby and didn't know what was happening, said, what happened? And she thought maybe something bad happened. And I told her that I was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And wow, it was extremely emotional day for me. Still, it gets emotional when I think about it. But a day that I will never forget. It was amazing. Yeah.
No, that is so special. And Ramon, I've always valued our friendship over the years, the many signatures. I mean, I just remember the mad dashes at the Belmont. My dad and I would be sorry, well, the mad dash to get all you guys to sign it before the race every year. It was something special. By the way, you can check out the Racing Museum at 191 Union Avenue, Saratoga Springs. So that's a great spot to visit before and after the races, right?
Alex, I tell you, it is so incredible. Honestly, I feel like it's a hidden gem at the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame. And the fact that if somebody makes a trip to the racetrack during the racing season, it will be amazing. Not only the atmosphere, it's a very family oriented with picnic tables. You can see the horses from close proximity in the paddock, and also get a signature from the jockeys as they come back from the jockeys from the track, going back into the jocks room. But across the street from the racetrack is the Museum of Hall of Fame, and they have now a film, a 360 film called What It Takes to Make It into the Hall of Fame. Oh my gosh, it's amazing, beautiful. All the exhibits is a place absolutely. If somebody comes to the racetrack or is passing through Saratoga, it is a must to stop by the National Museum of Racing and Hall of Fame.
You guys always seem to have mentors, right? Who is your mentor coming up in the racing world?
Wow, I do not have one mentor. I have many. In fact, if you ask me among jockeys, I probably can tell you something that I learned from every single one of them, whether it was an advice that they gave me or whether it was something that I noticed that they were doing well or doing, in my opinion, incorrectly. But I had multiple people who really helped me in my process of becoming a jockey. And it's something that never stopped. I mean, even to today, I sometimes ask some of the jockeys who, when I watch them ride, how they do something because it is a profession where you never ever stop learning.
And if there are young jockeys that wants, a leg up, if you will, on this field and want to come to you, how can they reach you?
They can reach out to me. Most of them have my phone number, and if no, they can ask any of the other jockeys. And it's something that I not only like to do, I love to really help and sometimes offer advice whenever some of them will ask me, call me because maybe they're having a difficulty or maybe they want to improve in certain area, and I don't have all the answers, but I have a different perspective, especially when it comes to getting horses to relax, which I think is something that I was able to do fairly well. And so sometimes if it is riding on the turf, which again, one of the key important factors is getting horses to relax. So and whatever the case may be that they may want to maybe bounce some ideas or ask for any questions, I absolutely, my phone is always open for that, and I'm always willing to have a conversation with them. So again, the best way for them is to ask one of the jockeys that I rode with about my phone number, and I'm always happy to help.
Well, before the Travers, I'd love to get you back on for your thoughts on that and maybe even the breeders later in the year.
Absolutely, you can reach out. I love speaking with you, and especially when we're talking about racing. So definitely, we can reconnect. And the Travers this year is August 24th, so we have plenty of time to prepare.
Appreciate you, Ramon, and appreciate all our friendship over the years. And love having you back on the Alex Garrett Podcast Network.
Thank you, Alex, for the great work you're doing. And anytime, I'm looking forward to being on the podcast as well.